It's a beautiful city of Hilo in Big Island, Hawaii. My name is Jong-woo Han. I am the president of Korean War Legacy Foundation. In my foundation, there are more than 1,500 of Korean War veterans interviewed, not only from the United States, but also from other 21 countries that participate in the Korean War, like Great Britain, United Kingdom, Canada, so on and so on. We are doing this to preserve your memory because it's been already more than 70 years ago. Yeah. And we want to honor your service as a Korean War veteran. But most importantly, we want to make this interview into curricular resources for history teachers so that they can learn from you when they talk about the Korean War in the classroom, in history class, for their own students. That's why we are doing this. And MPVA, Ministry of Patriots and Veterans Affairs, are supporting this project for the special occasion of 70th anniversary of the breakout of the Korean War in 2020. Mm-hmm. It's a continuation of that project so that your interview will be uploaded to the MPVA website too, okay? And it's my great honor and pleasure to meet you, sir. I love you because you already knew me about what I've been doing through the graybeard, yeah, right? You told me that.
That's correct.
That's my honor, and I'm so glad to meet a person like you. So thank you again. Please introduce yourself. What is your name, sir?
My name is Hiroshi Shima.
Could you spell it?
First name, Hiroshi.
And?
Last name is Shima.
What is your birthday?
February 10, 1927.
What? 1927? So you are 94?
Yeah, 2 more months, I'll be 95.
95?
Yeah.
Oh my God. He speaks like a 60-year-old man.
I'm fortunate. My mind is very, very good.
Yeah.
Normal, that I have no problem.
So you don't drink at all?
Drink?
Yeah.
No. I have one gin tonic every night.
Every night?
Every night, yeah.
My wife doesn't ask me to drink.
Why not?
She is afraid that I'm getting old.
No, that's medicine.
Medicine?
Yes.
See?
Yeah.
Listen.
Yes.
Are you listening?
That's medicine, yeah. A lot of Koreans, I know, they drink a lot. Yeah, I know.
We love it.
Yeah.
We love it. So, wow, 24. No, 94.
94, yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
You really...
See, I'm down, I have bad arthritis. So my legs are all numb. I'm unable to walk. I need a walker. And I have a scooter there that I go around with. And my hands also are very numb. But I still can grab the spoon and continue to eat very slowly. But I don't know for how long I can do that. I'm on 24/7, what do you call care. So I have to get a bath. They have to have me change my clothes like that.
Wow.
Yeah, and shave. So
but you still have a very clear mind.
Yeah, I told you my mind is very good. So I know exactly what's going on. So excellent. I still can take care of my own finances. Yeah.
And behind you, there are beautiful tree, bonsai.
Yes.
Miniature.
Yes.
Are you doing that?
I still continue. These are the leftover from the sale I had.
Wow.
I sold over 300 trees. Backyard full and over here. So these are the leftovers. So I continue to do. And if they want to buy, I sell. But I propagate a lot of small plants that I can work with. Because my bonsai tools keep on dropping all the time because I have no feeling.
Yeah.
But I still force myself to do things.
So where were you born?
Lapa Hoi Hoi.
Could you spell it?
Laupahoehoe.
PA. Lapahoho.
Hoi Hoi.
Lapahoehoe.
Yeah.
It's
Big Island.
Big Island.
23 miles north of Hilo.
So you born here?
No. I born on this island.
Big Island, yeah.
Yeah, my parents immigrated from Okinawa.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So tell me about it. Your family and your siblings when you were growing up. What did your parents do and your sibling? How many?
I had 6, 3 brothers and 2 sisters beside me. So, and when parents, the people who immigrated to Hawaii, mostly all went to work for the sugarcane companies.
Mm-hmm.
So he's been with the sugarcane companies until he retired.
Must have been very hard work.
Hard work.
Yeah.
So we grew up. He worked for the sugar company, and he was raising sharecropper. He leased land and used to raise his own cane. So we grew up in the cane field from a very young age. So they used to carry us to the cane field, and we used to stay all day, and then they bring us home.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, very hard life. Very
So
poor.
you were 3-year-old when the Great Depression broke out, right?
I don't know about that.
You don't know about that.
I don't
So
know.
it didn't affect your life?
No.
No.
I don't know. Yeah. I didn't even affect the people in the sugar company. They all had a job. Yeah.
So when did you graduate your high school?
In 1945.
1945.
Yeah.
That was the year that the World War II ended.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
What high school did you graduate?
La Pahoehoe High and Elementary School. I was supposed to be drafted after I graduated in 1945.
1945, you were drafted.
I was supposed to be drafted.
Oh, okay.
But I already had 2 brothers in Europe, with the U.S. Army. So they gave me a deferment because, and so when the Korean War came along, they didn't forget me.
Then they forget
That's why
you.
we were kind of older of the Korean War veterans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when were you in high school? Did you learn anything about Asian history?
Ancient
Asian.
history?
Yeah, China, Japan, Korea. Did you learn anything about it from the history or geography?
Yeah, we learned that. And we used to go to Japanese school too. After English school, we used to go to Japanese school, language school.
I see.
Yeah.
Did you learn anything about Korea from the school?
Later in high school, then we knew about, Sigmund Rhee. He was, what do you call it in Hawaii? Exiled in Hawaii, yeah? Yeah.
You mean Syngman Rhee?
Sigmund Rhee, yeah.
Yeah, the first president.
So we know all about that.
Ah,
Yeah.
that's good to know. Because most of the Korean War veterans, they didn't learn anything about Korea from the school at all.
No.
They didn't know anything about Korea.
Yeah.
But you knew.
Yeah, I knew Korea.
And you
I knew they were occupied by Japan.
For colony, Japanese colony for
Colony.
35 years.
50 years?
35 years.
35 years. Okay.
Yeah, from
I thought 50
1910
years.
to 1945.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're bad people. Really bad people. Japanese are bad people, before they invade all these countries like that. So my feeling on the atomic bomb in Japan
Yeah.
is you cannot blame the Americans because they started the war, yeah? And they did a lot of bad things for the people. And so now the people, if they want to have all kind of complaint, they should have gone to see the emperor.
Yeah.
He's the one that started the war. Yeah, so America's not at fault. You feel very, very sorry, for what they had gone through. But this is the fault of the Japanese government, what had happened in Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
Yep.
That's my feeling.
Okay. So you are very honest,
Yeah.
Japanese American, because it's a sensitive question
I know.
for me to ask you about it,
Yeah.
right? What do you think about those? But it's a past. The important thing is to move beyond it.
That's right. Move on.
Yeah, move on.
Move on, yeah.
All right?
Same thing like Korea, to move on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So you knew about Korea.
Yeah.
And so when were you drafted finally or did you enlist?
Drafted in 1951.
51?
Yeah.
Where?
From here, Hilo.
Hilo.
Yeah.
And where did you go for basic military training?
Schofield Barracks on Wahiawa.
Yep.
That's on Oahu. Huh?
And how long?
13 weeks.
13 weeks.
Yes.
Any other school that you went through after that?
If you get drafted, you have no choice.
Right.
They give you a gun.
Yeah, I mean, I'm talking about after 13 weeks. Did you go any special training?
No.
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 So you went.
Oh, okay. Let me put it this way. After basic training,
6 weeks.
the units get split up, and some go to Korea,
Yep.
some go to Europe, and some go to U.S., and some stay back.
Yeah.
I was sent to Camp Drum, New York, after my basic training.
Camp Drum,
Yes,
New York.
yes.
So that's close to Syracuse.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, Syracuse.
So you know Syracuse.
I know all the place, yes.
A lot of snow.
Snow, it's like Korea,
Yeah, right.
the same. Yeah.
So from there, when did you go to Korea?
They deactivated the regiment in November of 1952. So we got our orders, and I was one of them that was sent to Korea.
Mm-hmm.
Some went to Europe, some went to atomic bomb testing,
Mm-hmm.
and all over. But it seems at that time they're very short of clerical MOS.
Yeah.
So most of the one I know were all clerks. So we were all sent to Korea.
Yeah. Where did you land in Korea?
Well, we went to Japan first,
Right.
Camp Drake, yeah, and then Incheon.
Incheon.
Incheon, yes.
When did you arrive in Incheon? Remember the month?
It was January 1953.
Okay.
Yeah.
And tell me about Korea for the first time you saw. How was it? Just give me the detail because young children do not have any idea how Korea was in 1953.
Well, we landed at night, so we didn't see anything.
But after that,
Well, see, we were trained to Camp Drum, New York. We were trained to Chuncheon, and then that's the division headquarters for the 17th Infantry Division.
what was your unit at the time?
We weren't assigned yet.
So what was your unit?
Oh, the 31st Infantry,
21st
31st, 31st Infantry Regiment, 7th Division.
Regiment and what? Second Division.
7th Division.
What battalion?
I kind of forget. I don't know, maybe D. I think I'm not sure.
What company?
You know, those are kind of vague for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was your MOS?
1816, I believe it's clerical.
Huh?
Clerical MOS. 1816.
Clerical, yes, clerical.
I think if you know 17, 15. Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And so tell me, what did you see in Korea? How was Korea to you? Be honest, straightforward.
Well, when we first went to to Chuncheon 7th Division, it's like regular army camp, right? And then so they truck you to the front line. And so the hills are bare. Nothing.
Mm-hmm.
No trees, and the hills are bare. And then and only you see the bunkers, but so very, very afraid. Very afraid, yeah. So, and after we get assigned to the unit, then when we went assigned to the unit, there were no action at the time, so we only went on night patrol.
How about the Chuncheon city? Was it destroyed a lot, or how did Korean people look like at the time?
I don't know because we were there on a very short time to be reassigned. Yeah, yeah.
And so then after that, where did you go?
Okay, later on, I came back to Chuncheon again.
Uh-huh.
Okay, but yeah.
And tell me, what was it like being in Chuncheon at the time?
No, let me go to where I was assigned. Okay. So I was with the 31st Infantry Regiment. I think it was about 3 months. Then they reassigned me to the 31st Field Artillery Battalion,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Headquarters Battery.
Yep.
So we were on a battery for, I was on a battery for about 2 months, 3 months, 2 or 3 months. Then they told me, you belong in personnel. That was my MOS. So they sent me back to personnel in Chuncheon. Yeah. At the time, Chuncheon, if you go back at the time when I returned to Chuncheon for the headquarters battery, force is not normal life. Yeah. Mm-hmm. We can get a shower, we can get a hot meal every day, can change our underwear every day, socks every day. We had a houseboy to do the work for us.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Do you remember any houseboy, Korean boy?
There were two, but I don't remember the name.
Uh-huh. How old were them?
One was very young, or maybe about 18,
Uh-huh.
and one was kind of elderly. And I have in my note there, the elderly Korean, you know, they could all speak Japanese, the elderly Koreans.
Right.
Yeah. So he used to write to my father back home.
Mm.
And my father replied, and he should read the letter to me. And so we sent care packages to him from Hawaii. Yeah.
Did you give them money, the Korean houseboy? What do they do for you? Do they clean your house or?
Yeah, they just make the bed, make the bunk,
Uh-huh.
make the bunk, clean up the place. Yeah. That's about all.
But you gave them money for their work, right?
The money was paid by the government. We didn't pay them.
Oh.
Yeah.
At the time.
Yeah, at the time. Yeah.
I see.
The government paid them, and the money they paid, the bill, money, the payroll is about that big. A lot of bills.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, since then you've been working as a clerical, right?
Yeah.
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 And so, what
Well-
was your job description? What did you do actually?
Oh, special clerk order. Special clerk order.
So, what is it?
We write orders for like transfer, or mostly like transfer, promotion, that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Special orders. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No,
So-
not a very challenging job.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Were there any battle that you engaged with the enemies at the time? No.
Not-
you were in the backward, right?
No, not in the back. Only thing my enemy was the Caucasians,
Why?
because I was Asian. I look like the Korean.
Right.
Yeah.
So, what do they do to you?
So they always have somebody with me all the time to know that I'm like sometimes we go to take a shower. You know, we get dog tags. They don't believe we are American soldiers.
Huh.
So we got to be very careful. And when we were with 31st Infantry Regiment, when we go on patrol, they was the most scared
Why?
because we had two enemies.
So they thought that you are the enemy.
I can be the enemy.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's a very
Yeah,
interesting.
very scared. So we had like the platoon sergeant or sergeant assigned somebody with me all the time. Yeah.
You mean the Caucasian?
Caucasian, yeah.
So that-
I was the only Asian in my
Only Asian?
only Asian. Yeah.
Oh.
See, like we were replacement. You know, so keep on changing all the time. So I was the only Asian in the platoon or in squad.
Did you complain about that?
We cannot complain.
Why
You
not?
cannot complain to the army. Nothing. You can do anything. You just take orders. That's all.
So were you angry about that?
Angry? We got no choice. We went to serve for countries to go to Korea, and that's what we had to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What was your rank at the time?
I was a corporal when I went, and I ended up as being sergeant Staff sergeant.
Step sergeant.
Yeah.
So how much were you paid as a step sergeant?
I think it was $135 a month.
100 what?
$35.
And what did you do with that money?
Yeah.
What did you do with that money? Did you drink or did you play game?
No, well, you drink, but the beer, everything is cheap, yeah. So we save the money.
Uh-huh.
But when we go to Japan, we spend them all.
So you went to R&R.
I went to R&R.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, when I went to R&R, I had a brother in Yokohama. He was,
Oh, you had a brother in
yeah,
Yokohama.
yes, brother's family, and so he was the defense department. So I stayed with him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What about, did you have a chance to go to Seoul at the time?
Sure.
Uh-huh. Tell me about the Seoul you saw. How was it?
In Japan?
No, Seoul.
Seoul, we went to Seoul only one time.
Yeah.
Nothing. Only one building standing up. Yeah.
Only one building?
One building, yeah. Yeah. I remember. And there is like hotels like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, brothels. So when you walk the street, they come hustling you for women.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so everything else was destroyed.
Yeah.
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 When did you leave Korea?
September 1953, after the war.
September. So you were there when the armistice was signed.
Yes, yes.
How was it? Where were you? What were you doing? And how did you feel about it?
Well, like I was in the rear, so we already were safe. So everybody's overjoyed.
Uh-huh.
Overjoyed, yes. The war is over, and then at least we know now that we're coming home safe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so after you returned from Korea, what did you do here?
Well, before I left for Korea, I joined a partnership to buy a grocery store.
Uh-huh.
So when I returned, I want to go to further my education, but my girlfriend said she cannot go because she has to take care of her elderly parents. And then I also was the only one left of the 6 siblings to take care of the parents, so we stayed home. I stayed home and stayed in the community.
Was your the girlfriend Japanese?
Yes, Japanese, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But what was the most difficult thing during your service in Korea?
Fear, I guess.
Fear?
Fear.
Yeah, tell me
Scared.
about it. What was it?
Well, every moment you're there, I think every soldier want to come home. Scared.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Scared.
and when you see, like, we had one battle at Pork Chop Hill, and so, like, we see people, our bodies die. Well, actually, see, we don't have much, we call it bodies because we're not there long enough to be, it's just soldiers supporting soldiers, like when you get replacement.
Mm-hmm.
Because next day they might be gone, and new one come inside again.
Right.
Yeah. But see, we've seen killed in action, and when you see that, it's fearsome. Yeah. Scared. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was scared. I don't know other people get scared of what, but I'm scared.
Exactly. You were in the war.
Yeah.
Of
I
course.
wanted to come home.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, have you been back to Korea since then?
Yeah.
When?
3 times.
Three times.
3 times on
When was it?
revisit program.
When? When was the last time?
The last one was 2017.
So, this is a very big question. Now, you need to tell young children in the United States and all over the world, what was it like to compare the Korea you saw in 1952 and 2017? How was it?
Yeah. It's an amazing story for the Korean people to see a nation devastated, nothing, to rise and to become one of the greatest leaders in the country today. Today they excel in sports, academic, medical, in almost everything, construction, electronics, name it, they got it. And because of that, you feel Very proud. We're proud. Proud of Korean people. I'm very proud of Korean people.
Yeah. I know. It's natural because at the time when you were in Korea, there was nothing.
Nothing.
Now, do you know the rank of Korean economy now in the world? What is it?
10.
Yeah, number 10.
Yeah.
You know, the Korea is a little bit bigger than the Indiana state, right? Half of Florida state. They don't have a drop of oil. They don't have much natural resources. Everything devastated. Now they are the 10th largest economy in the world. What do you think?
I think they're the greatest. Yeah. They're very disciplined people to rise up, to like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so like we said, the Korean veterans are very, very proud. At the time when we went to Korea, young boy in the 20s, you don't know too much about this kind of stuff. But when you get old, then you realize, how they have developed. And so, and you feel that because of that, we're part of it, so we feel very proud.
But you never imagined that Korea would become like this today when you left Korea in September 1953.
Of course.
You didn't think
No.
that. Why not?
The country was all a mess. Everything. Nothing there. No food and everything else. Yeah, nothing. That was in 1953. Yeah. So I tell, whenever I talk about Korea, I say, Korea is a moral country.
Uh-huh.
Other countries should develop like Korea. It takes maybe only 2 generations to get where you are today. Other nations, how many generations? How many centuries? Look where they are today. That's the difference.
So, Mr. Shima, as you just mentioned, Korea has transformed from the ashes to the world global economic power and democracy.
Yeah.
It's not just about the economy, it's also about democracy.
That's right.
So this is something very good came out of your service
right.
there, right? For a year.
That's very proud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But why is it known as a forgotten war? I mean, this is the war that we need to talk and teach about it. I'm not supporting the war, but there are so much good came out of it. Why is it forgotten war?
No, the Americans. The Americans forget. Koreans don't forget.
Right.
The Americans forget.
So
Like
how?
they talk about World War II. Then they go to Vietnam War.
Mhm.
They don't go to Korean War. They skip Korean War.
Why?
I don't know. Ask Emil, maybe you know. I don't know.
Don't blame him. I'm asking you.
I don't know. I don't know. They
Timing.
huh?
Timing.
So,
It's timing.
but even like over in Hawaii, like we're Korean War veterans, but we are not recognized veterans like the Second World War. Yeah, we're different.
But Korean government recognize you.
Only the government of Korea don't forget us. The people of Korea and the government of Korea. Yeah. So we're very thankful.
So would you please introduce yourself? What is your name?
My name is Hannah Kim.
Uh-huh. Are you Korean American?
Yes.
Yes. When did you come to Hawaii?
Actually, I came to Hawaii in 1996.
So you are the friend of Mr. Shima, and you wrote some letter to Graybeard, right?
Yes.
So could you read that part?
Yes. Thank you. I cannot believe that it has been 70 years since the Korean War. In my mind, it feels like only a short time ago when my dad took my 3-year-old myself in his arms and led our family all the way from Haesan City onto an American LST ship during the Hunnan evacuation
Oh.
for the journey south. Though I was still too young to fully grasp the situation. It still left an indelible mark on me, for which I grew more grateful every day. You see, only because of your courage and heroism, I was able to get on that ship. And because I got on that ship, I was able to go to school, find a job, get married, even go to America. Because of you fought and sacrificed, I got on that ship. And you not only saved my life, but enabled the creation of much more life in the form of my children and now grandchildren. Sometimes I wonder what would have happened had I not gotten on that ship. Would I be one of those paying tribute to that cruel regime? Would I even be alive? I let this thought pass quickly because I was able to get on that ship, and so the wasn't if don't matter. It has been an honor to deliver this message to you. 70 years is a long time, and many may not remember well all that you did all those years ago. However, please be rest assured that I and many, many other Koreans all over the world will never forget your heroism, sacrifice, and love, not in 70 years or in 170 years. Thank you very much.
So, Hannah,
Yes,
can I call you Hannah?
yeah,
Yeah. How old are you?
74.
74.
I am.
There is some disease here in Hawaii that people cannot get aged.
Hawaii weather.
74. So, you telling me that you were in that ship, Meredith, and you from Hasan.
Hasan City.
So tell me, your father brought you and your sister, brother,
All my family.
all your
And-
family.
And all my the relatives in our mother's side, all the family. I just remember the sound of the gun shooting sound. We were on the boat, and then I was scared at that age, and then I was about to cry, and then they didn't let me cry, and then cover my mouth like that, so the sound went out. And yeah.
Were you hungry? Did you have anything to eat at the time when you coming to Hamhung?
I didn't feel that because my parents tried to feed me.
What did you eat?
I remember just the potatoes. They said.
Potato.
Potato.
Were there many Korean refugees there with you?
My whole family was almost 30 members, 30 or 40.
But not only your family member, but other Korean, North Koreans.
Yeah, a lot of them.
Lot?
Hasan City, yes. That's what my dad told me.
Two of you together, even though Mr. Shima, you were not in Wonsan, but how two of you became friends?
We have been trying to connect with the Korean community for many years, but we're very, very unsuccessful. So only in the later years, maybe about 6-7 years, since I don't know how we got connected, but they say that the Korean community Christian choir would like to participate in ceremonies, so that's how we got started.
It was 4 years ago, and
What?
on the Veterans Day.
Was 4 years ago?
Yeah, 4 years ago,
okay.
and then on the Veterans Day, the community, Hilo Korean Community Choir. I'm a director of that choir, and then we decided to join the Veterans Day parade.
I think
Yeah,
it
do you
was.
remember?
I think the connection was actually June Park.
Yeah. First connection was June Park.
Oh, for, okay.
That was
June,
the
yeah.
connection.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then she told me about you folks, and then we decide, and okay, why don't we join them? Yeah.
So no matter what people say about the Korean War, this is absolute truth that Hana Kim was saved by the American forces, UN forces at the time, right? If there were no Meredith Victory, the ship and the LST run by the American soldiers, you are not here.
No. Right.
You might have been killed,
Right.
right? So this is absolute truth. That's why we are doing this. No matter what your political opinion and historical perspective about the Korean War, this is the real truth. So there are people who sacrificed, and there are people saved by that sacrifice.
Right.
Yep. So, Mr. Shima, what would you say to the Korean people about the war that you fought for them?
What I had to respond to that. I don't know. It's just to say how successful the nation has become. And then, as veterans of the Korean War, we're very, very proud of them.
Any other story that you want to add to this interview?
No, like the main point with Hannah is that we've been trying to, like I mentioned, connect with the, we had no success for many, many years. And finally, until they come around. And now that they are with us, to plan ceremonies, program like that, it's very easy because we call Hannah and she takes care of everything. And like so, Emil and I have been talking about the future of our chapter, and most likely we probably have to dissolve one day. And so we built a Korean War memorial in 2019, I believe it was. And we're concerned about the memorial. We have money to maintain it right now, but if there's like vandalism or tidal wave or something that damage, we want to have that repaired if can. And because Hannah is very active with us, and I'm sure, I think she will continue to help us, take care of the memorial. Yeah. And the Korean community, hope the Korean community will support you and then help us maintain the memorial, yeah?
Very good.
My name is Emil Weary,
W-E-R-Y.
W-E-R-Y.
And what is your position here?
I represent the Korean War veterans.
Chapter
231, number
231.
231.
Yes.
And so you've been knowing Mr. Shima for a long time?
A while.
Uh-huh. And what do you think is the future of the legacy of the Korean War here in Hilo?
Okay. 1950. Actually, prior to that, 1949, when at the time it was not South Korea, it was just Korea. It was being occupied by the American Army. This is after the Second World War. And they had a regiment there, occupation regiment, was called the 5th Infantry Regimental Combat Team. When Korea became independent in summer of 1949, that regiment went to 0 strength, and the colors were sent to Schofield Barracks in Hawaii. It was sitting in Schofield Barracks in June 1950. When the war started, all the American units in Japan, occupation forces, were at half strength. So the first unit that was sent there was from the 24th Division. It was 1st Battalion, 21st Infantry, Task Force Smith.
Yeah.
Battle of Osan. They got basically destroyed by the North Korean army. They came in with tanks and whatnot. That's what started America's involvement in what became the Korean War, police action. So that regiment in Schofield Barracks, 0 strength, they filled it up. And it deployed to Korea. It got to Korea in about 3 months after that. That was the 5th Regimental Combat Team. At the time, the whole regiment was made up of people from Hawaii. They had the highest casualty rate in the Korean War, the 5th Regimental Combat Team. So, Hawaii as a state, well, we weren't even a state then, we were a territory. Per capita had the highest casualty rate in the Korean War, Hawaii. So, you have a lot of families in Hawaii that KIA or WIA in the Korean War. So there's always been a connection between Hawaii and the Korean War because of the 5th RCT. It was called the Bucket of Blood. Their patch was a pentagon, red with a white circle. They called it the Bucket of Blood. Among the soldiers from Hawaii, they don't forget that unit, the sacrifices it made in Korea. So there is a connection between the Hawaii military people and the Korean government, besides everything else, because of that. Nationally, it was never really recognized, but it's recognized here in Hawaii. And the culture, the Hawaiian culture, was a warrior culture. The people that came to Hawaii, which was basically to work in the plantations, whether it was from Japan, Korea, all over, they basically came out of warrior cultures. Japan, the samurai. I'm not saying the country was war, but the culture was a culture based on fighting and pride. And it blended in with what was already here. So you have a tremendous amount of pride. You don't leave anybody. You don't run. You stay, no matter what the consequences are. And it's been manifested in all the wars Hawaii's been in, or Hawaii's partaken in the United States, from the second, right, from the First World War right up through today. So you have all those things that fit into it. Pride, tremendous pride. It's not a love for war, but it's an affinity to that because of the culture is what we come from as a whole. And all the individual parts that make the whole, that blending. If you drink Scotch whiskey, they have called blended whiskey.
Yeah.
It's
So-
a blend.
So, Mr. President, you are the president of chapter here 231, and Mr. Wary, you made a really good point that Hawaii has had the highest, deadliest casualty rate among 50 states because they were in the very beginning of the phase of the Korean War. And so I appreciate that. I thought that you didn't like to talk much.
When I get started, I have a hard
So, how many Korean War veterans here in Big Island? Do you know?
Oh, I don't know the total number of Korean War veterans on the Big Island. I know the number that are in the chapter,
Yeah.
but that's declining fast.
How many are there now?
Oh, they're probably about, on paper, about 41, I think.
No,
Less?
our membership now, they were down to 15.
15.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
We're some members, they're not Korean War veterans. But actually, Korean War veterans, I think we only have 15 left. But there are many, many other Korean War veterans out there that we do not know.
Yeah.
The only time we find out is when we see in the obituary that they are a Korean War veteran.
Yeah.
Another fact is that to be a Korean War veteran, if you were 18 years when you were inducted, so you must be like 89 years today, okay? So anybody who tells a Korean War veteran below that age, they should be Korean defense veteran, not Korean War veteran.
There are two different two different types. Korean War era veteran, meaning that they were soldiers during the Korean
right.
War period,
That's
but they
right.
were not in the Korean
That's
theater.
right, yes.
There are about 1.79 million American soldiers
Yes.
were in Korean theater. They are the Korean War veteran.
yes.
And after the Korean War, Korea defense
Right.
veteran. Right.
Yes.
Yep. Okay, so this is great.
Maybe I want to just add about
Sure.
what the future of the remembrance of the Korean veterans. Okay, so I believe we are going to be forgotten. This is the reason why we wanted to build a memorial, which we had built in 2019. With that memorial, we had the names of all the KIAs listed, and so it'll be there, like say, permanent. But as far as for us, I don't think they're going to remember us.
Thank you so much for your fight, and thank you, Mr. Wary. Thank you for your service for the Korean War veterans in the chapter. It is very important because it's not just a war for Korea, but it was very historical in the world political affairs. So I want to thank you all. Thank you. Thank you, sir.